Stephen Schneider, welcome to the show, brother.
Yeah, hey, how you doing, Gail? We finally get to talk. Do it between us.
Yeah, between us, for those wanting to get into podcasting or is thinking of going on to a podcast for an interview, there can be a lot of technical issues as well. So prepare yourself for that.
No, he's lying. It's always perfect, and there's never a problem.
Technology is never perfect. That's
Right.
what we were discussing. No matter how advanced it can get, technology is just never perfect. You just never know what can happen and when it can happen.
Hey, at one time, the zipper was considered advanced technology, and I still have trouble with a zipper sometimes. So it doesn't change.
Yeah. You know, while we're on the topic, so today I purchased a new laptop because like processes are just getting more and more advanced. And now when it comes to podcasting, live streaming, gaming, you just need to keep upgrading, right? Because it's not going to hold, as you grow in whatever field you may be in. So this
Yeah,
is just the reality it is. And you do an upgrade now, and then down the line, hey, there's another upgrade, that's going to make it even more better. Then you're like,
yeah.
oh, man.
Just a slight tip for everybody. If you do need to upgrade, you need to get something new, concentrate on the amount of memory and your hard drive speed, because the CPU anymore is usually the least thing that will make your computer slow. Having not enough memory, having a slow hard drive will make your computer way slower. Everybody always seems to, oh, give me the biggest CPU, the best CPU, and that's not going to change hardly anything for you.
Yeah, and that's the case, like I did research, and now Ryzen or the CPU Ryzen seems to be, the best in the market now when it comes to gaming, live streaming, podcasting.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I just made that investment today, and we'll see how it goes. And it's not the laptop I'm using now because I still need to get back, ready to go. But
Right.
yeah, it is what it is. It is what it is. But Stefan, once again, thank you for coming onto the show. It's a pleasure to meet you. Where are you coming to us from today?
I am almost on the other side of the world from you. I am in U.S., North America, and I'm in Ohio, which is just one of the states by the Great Lakes below Canada.
Okay, so you're near the border. So whenever you need to jump over, it's just like let me just.
Yeah, well, doesn't quite work like that, but yes.
I'm sure there's a lot of people out there in the world that wish it worked that way, right?
As you know, if we were in Europe, it's a little more like that, but not always here. It's not super hard, but yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, nice. And what time is it there right now?
Right now it is 1:20 in the afternoon.
1:20 in the afternoon. So good afternoon to you, sir.
There you go.
So what is your average Monday or day like?
Well, I've got my writing, but that's kind of the side thing. By day, I'm a computer consultant. I work for a company remotely and do just about everything, jack of all trades for computer stuff. I've done that for most of my career, my life, computer stuff, and moved from hardware into programming software, and as the world has changed, the internet has changed things. I've done different things every couple years, it seems.
So the advice you gave me about what we need is coming from years of experience. So I'm
Yes,
kicking that heart.
absolutely. Yeah, I see people all the time like, oh, I got this great processor. I got this new processor. And it's like, well, how much memory do you have? Oh, well, I didn't get too much. Or, what type of hard drive? Oh, I got the cheapest hard drive I could get. And then they complain about the computer being slow, because what happens is the CPU does all these blazing fast stuff, and then it sends things to memory and it has to wait for it to come back. And it does all sorts of stuff, and it wipes it out to the hard drive, and it waits 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 and it waits. So, having a CPU, multi-threaded with 32 threads and super uber fast that breaks Mach 20 million or whatever.
Yeah.
It waits more often than not. It's the hard drive and the memory that makes a big difference.
Thank you. Thank you for that advice. Much, much appreciated moving forward. So, since we're on the topic, um, the digital space is changing. So, now you being in the field for so many years with so much experience, what's your take on artificial intelligence and the future to come?
Uh, you know, I've been avoiding that mostly because in the author space, there is a lot of back and forth controversy. And there's a lot of people in support and a lot of people not in support. Um,
Yeah.
the part of it that there's a couple of things that bother me about it is a lot of times the people that are not in support of AI, that's great. I totally get it. I support that, but they kind of make it their mission to destroy the lives of people that do use AI. And I don't get that at all. But the people that want to use AI, a lot of them are using it. It's like, well, I don't care how good of whatever I get. I'll just have AI do it because it's quick. And here's a bunch of crap. Give me lots of money for it. And that's ruining things for everybody. So in that respect, both sides are have problems from what I see. But the issue some people need to realize, and coming from the tech background, is it's not going away. It's not going to change. It's going to be more and more. The time to really sink in and protest the AI stuff and things that are being done with AI was like 10 to 15 years ago. Way too late. It's already there. There's too many people using it. There's too many companies making money, not going away. So we need to resolve ourselves with how can we work with it. And the thing is, our kids, you and I have been playing with probably Mid Journey and Chat GPT for 3 years, average right now. Well, the kids that were in first grade 3 years ago are now in fourth grade. And guess what they've been used to? AI, Mid Journey, Chat GPT. 3 more years, it's only going to be different and change once again. And guess what? They're going to be in sixth grade now, and they'll have been using it in school for projects their whole lives. So by the time they hit 18 and graduate, they'll look at us like, why is everybody so upset about AI? Because they don't know any different. They've used it their whole lives. You're a young guy. You don't remember a time before the internet, and you'd probably think it's crazy the amount of people that thought the internet was going to destroy the world. But it's what happened, and that's where AI is right now. So I can see both sides from the tech perspective, from the author perspective. I'm not trying to say one way's better or the best way to go, but I see issues, and the problem is it's just not going away. And I think it's more my energy is better put to use on uh, dealing with it in one way or another.
Yeah, thank you. That is a great answer. I mean, I've interviewed so many authors on the show, right? And I mean, AI always comes up. And to the ones who are against it, it's because they just feel right now that it's taking over the creativity space. But at
Right.
the end of the conversation, we all come to an agreement that look, when your storytelling is true, people do pick up on it. People
Yes.
can read a book and be like, wow, this is authentic. I can feel it. There's emotion in the story,
Now,
right?
now
So,
let's make sure we're being correct. We're not necessarily talking about all of AI. This case, we're talking about generative AI, which is a subset of AI. AI exists all over the place. People have been clicking Google login. Where's the traffic lights? Where's the motorbikes? They've been training AI for 20 years without knowing it. AI is all over the place. Generative AI is where most of the issues come in our author world. And if we remember, and you may not remember this, when when Kindle, I should say, came out in like 2012, it was destroying the industry. Oh my God, every author can just post a book, and that's crazy. It's going to destroy books. Nobody's going to read. It's going to just kill the whole book industry. Well, that was 14 years ago. That was what everybody said. It's still here. We still have lots of authors. You interview a lot of authors. So, and I don't know an author that doesn't have their book on Kindle. You know,
Yeah.
it exists. I have to use it or not. And I know a lot of authors are like, why would I ever not want to use Kindle? I sell the most books on Kindle. Yay, go Kindle. You know, and that's how AI is going to be. We're just in the flux of it right now.
Yeah. It's you have to adapt whether you want to or not.
Yeah.
A great example using Kindle, the authors that were used to the traditional book business of a physical book, a bookstore, you know, whether you liked Kindle or not, if you wanted to sustain yourself as an author, you needed to get your book onto Kindle,
Right.
right?
And you mentioned bookstores, and that's another argument I've had from authors where they go, oh, all the bookstores are disappearing. It's a shame. I always loved bookstores. You know, I got into writing because I love to read and I love to go to the bookstore. And I look at them and say, okay, well, do you have your book available in print that you've offered to the bookstores? Oh, well, no, just Kindle. Don't complain about the bookstores going away if you don't do anything to help support the bookstores.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't make sense to me. All my books are available in print. I put them on Ingram Spark so the bookstores, the libraries can get them. I try and reach out to libraries and bookstores to offer, hey, I'll drop off a book for you to check out. Hey, I'll come into your store. We'll do this event. Some support of my local bookstores. But I know other authors are like, oh, no, that's too much work. I'll just put it up on Kindle. Well,
Mm.
you can't complain about the bookstores. And again, my argument is you're complaining about people using AI and it's destroying jobs. Absolutely right, 100%. But not putting your book in print and only putting it on Amazon destroyed jobs too. Yeah, it's like you're standing on this hill, but you've already made the choice elsewhere that destroyed jobs. I just don't get it. People, and I'm not saying they're wrong at all. I know people are like, oh my gosh, let's jump all over him. I'm not saying they're wrong. I agree, but the reality is you can't say AI is destroying jobs, so I'm not going to support it, while at the same time not supporting bookstores by having print books. To me, that seems like you're talking out two sides of your face on that.
Yeah. Well, your opinion is valid. Yeah. Well, what you're saying is not wrong. I
Yeah,
can tell you that from the outside. Yeah. Well, what you're saying is not wrong. I mean, I come from a background with music. I'm in the music industry as well. And I mean, it's the same thing. Same thing. The reason I agreed, when Mickey reached out to me and was like, Kino, would you love to have authors on the shows? Because I noticed there was not a huge difference between the book industry and the music
right.
industry. The end product was just different.
Yeah,
The
and
pros,
music's
the
another
same.
great example. Oh man, it's a shame we don't get any good bands anymore. But okay, have you bought a CD or do you only use Spotify? Because if you only use Spotify, those artists are getting like 12 cents from you per year. If you buy their CD, they're gonna get $5 right now. That's a whole lot more money for that artist. I still try and buy CDs. I still want CDs. But again, people don't think of that. And I always bring up this example. I assume, Kino, that you have a cell phone, right? I don't know anybody that doesn't have a cell phone. In fact, I was told, just call it a phone, dude. Nobody calls it a cell phone anymore. So yeah, I'm old. Okay. But by having a cell phone, there used to be operators that you would pick up the phone and say, hey, operator, connect me to so and so. And they would, and you would get charged for long distance. Well, by using a cell phone now, you put all those operators out of business. They don't have jobs. It's just being in the tech world for 30 years now. It's changed multiple times. I've seen it. This is just one of those changes. So a little more pragmatic, I guess. I'm not running around like Chicken Little with, sky is falling on it. Has it impacted things? Has it made some things worse and bad? Is it affecting designers and some authors and some artists? Absolutely. But I use artists for my covers. I'm waiting on two of them right now, and I wish they'd hurry up. There's a thing right there. I could see it. If you're a struggling author and you need an image, I can go to Midjourney and do 30 prompts in the next half hour until I find the right image, or I can try and find an artist and pay $300 or $400 and wait a month to get it. There, I'm not saying people should go to Midjourney. I'm just saying there's the reality of the situation. I just spent years writing my book while trying to raise my family and work my job. I don't have time to wait on an artist, and I don't have the 300 or 400. I can, for $20 on Midjourney, I've got multiple covers to choose from. I understand the reality of that situation for a lot of people. And I know using the AI stuff, is it as good? Not necessarily. But on the flip side, again, authors have their stuff up on Amazon KDP, and Amazon offers a cover generator for free. That put people out of work for doing cover designs, and those covers suck horribly. They're terrible. But I was at a show just a couple weeks ago, that there was an author set up. They had 8 books. Every single one of them had an Amazon cover generated, and they were selling books there. They didn't pay an artist, but nobody's jumping on somebody that uses Amazon for covers, but they'll jump on somebody that uses AI for covers. That's not fair. That doesn't make sense to me. Again,
Yeah,
I know a lot of people are going to disagree with that, and I might get some people yelling at me or whatever. You suck, whatever. But that's the reality. That's the truth. You're focusing on one, but there's others. Same examples. People making covers without paying artists for them. I'm rambling.
great examples. I feel, everybody should just, maybe just focus on how they want to go about their work. And if an author is choosing, a different avenue, like, for example, to create their cover, then allow them to do so. Don't let it affect you. You concentrate on you. You do you, let them do them, and we all just move on.
Agree. Agree. Me personally, I want there to be artists. A lot of kids in my family are artists. I will pay artists for the covers. Now, I have used AI for a cover, but it was for a free story that I offered online for free. I'm sorry, I'm not going to pay $300 or $400 to get a cover created when I'm just giving the story away for free. But I'm taking a bunch of those stories and putting them in, compiling them into a book. And I just hired an artist to create a cover for the book. So I'm, earning money off of this book. I'm selling it. I got an artist to do it. I paid for an editor. Whereas the short story, I was giving it away for free. It was just for fun. I didn't do that. Full disclosure on those.
Nice, nice. Yeah, I love it when an artist, any artist, right, gives full disclosure. I did the same thing, I did the same thing. So,
Oh, wait, I got one more. I got another one. So what about this? You know how many business owners and authors are using Canva? Why? Because Canva makes it easy to make just about everything. I know
yeah,
people making whole kids' storybooks using clip art in Canva. They didn't pay an artist. They paid $20 for a month of Canva. They created 10 kids' storybooks with clip art images, and they're selling them at some of the book shows I go to. Nobody said anything about them, but other people were getting upset. That's an AI cover on your thing. We're going to throw you because well, wait a minute. This person used Canva and they use clip art for their stuff. I have graphic designer friends that are getting put out of business because of Canva. Nobody's going, to these designer friends. And cell phones again. How many? As a creative person, how many wedding photographers were put out of business because everybody got their iPhone that could take professional looking pictures? Again, I roll my eyes at people when they want to jump on somebody. It's like, well, you're putting somebody out of business. So's the cell phone, so's Canva, so's Amazon, and you use all of those. You can't attack me for one thing while you're doing these other things that have the exact same result.
100%.
Man, you really got me going here today, Kino. Gee.
I love it. I love it. I love your energy. I really do love your energy. I love how optimistic you are for the current state of the world and for the world to come. But just to conclude on that, with the whole disclosure, I was going to say that even with my music, I produce my original music. I work with artists all around the world. And I just love that about the digital space. And there was an AI project I did do with music, and there was a whole storyline behind it. But once again, like, it was full disclosure when I put it out to market. I said, look, guys, I am doing this and it's an AI project and I want to see what comes of it. And I went ahead and I did it. So, message to anyone out there, if you are using AI for any project, you know, be open about it, be honest about it. There's going to be people that will support you and appreciate you even more because you're being honest about it, instead of putting something out there claiming that it's original and people will eventually find out and then they are going to hate you for it. And your fan base will even hate you for it. So, that's where morals, principles come into the mix, of being an artist. So, yeah. But thanks, man. Thanks. You should have your own podcast. Or do you?
I used to have a podcast.
Why used to?
Because I just don't have the time to focus on a podcast. I wanted to really focus on the writing a lot more. And I've gotten several books out now in the last couple of years, and I've got several others almost done that I'm, going to be finishing up and getting out this year. That's my fear, though. So if you look at my releases for the last 5 years, I haven't had hardly anything, just a couple short stories and some main books. But now I knew that once I started pushing the books more, that it'd be like a tipping point and it would take a lot more time. So I've been bouncing around between several projects, but now they're all coming to fruition and all getting done. So I've got multiple things coming out. I've got 2 books I'm working on that are both like 80% done. So once they're done and edited, and I'll be releasing them here by this summer. So it looks like, and I know somebody's going to say this, look how many releases he has. He must have used AI. No, I have my Scrivener files. I will show you the snapshots. I will show you the twice that I've sent it through to my editor in the last year. I can show you all of this. It's not AI, but somebody will do that, and that's not helping the whole thing. It's making it worse. Someone will just, well, you must have used AI. I'm going to ruin you, and it's not true. And I know that Amazon and others, they have automated things that's like, oh, this looks like AI, block your account. And then you have to try and prove it. And so there's all sorts of problems happening because of all of this. But I'm just saying, I've got multiple things coming out that weren't AI produced. I've written them all.
Yeah. Once again, as I said before, concentrate on your own work. Stop being a hater.
Yes.
However somebody else is going about their work, whether it's AI or not AI, none of your business. Focus on you. Takes you a long way, right? Takes you a long way. So, normally I start the show by getting like this full picture of an author's background, and you have done that well over the last 22 minutes and 44 seconds. Thank you. So, before we move on to your book, connect the dots for me. Coming from a tech background, but now an author, which came first? Or did you always want to write, but then life happened, got into the tech industry, and then you said, okay, let me do stuff now that's actually going to fulfill me and cleanse the heart, make the heart heal.
I think what I'm discovering is I've always been very creative. I just didn't trust that, and I probably should have. So clear back in college, which was probably before you were born, um, I was a computer programming major, and I also was in a rock band, and I was doing some music lessons and stuff on the side. And I started to realize I really enjoyed music. And so I kind of let the computer stuff slide and focused on music for a while. And I was doing really well. I mean, my first year, I got lead chair in the jazz band for bass. I got the Young Composer of the Year award my first year composing. And things were going really well. I was in a really good band. We won several rock band contests in the area. Things were going well. And I even got a job for a while on a cruise ship playing in the pit orchestra. Um, but I talked myself out of it and kind of said, no, I'm not going to be able to really make a living at this. It's, computers, definitely. I enjoy computers, I enjoy programming. So that's somewhere I'm going to be able to make some money. And that's what I've done. And it's done very well. But I've come to realize in the last couple of years that maybe I should have stayed with the creative stuff because I feel my soul more fulfilled doing the creative stuff. And the way the writing started was I was a Girl Scout leader and I saw all my girls reading, which was good, but all the books they were reading was male protagonists. And I'm like, wow, these girls need something of their own to read. They need some females in here, some women that are inspiring to them. Well, then I drug my feet. Life, things happen. And so when I finally started writing, there was an explosion. There's tons of books out there now with good protagonists for girls, which I think is great. I just, could have done it sooner. Whatever. But that's what got me into writing. And I've been enjoying it more and more. And like I said, I think that's part of my problem right now is if I do writing more full time, it's going to interfere with my job and my work. So I've got to be able to make a living doing it, or at least make some money doing it to be able to find that balance. So I'm hitting a tipping point with the amount of work I have creatively and what I'm doing with it.
Okay, nice. And well done to you for what you did, for those girls. What you're probably still doing, for
Yeah,
readers.
they're all grown now. Several are married, so things have changed.
I'm sure they're still keeping up with you and reading your books.
I don't know. I haven't asked any of them. I don't push my books on friends and family a lot because I don't see how it's very useful or helpful. A lot of times they may get it and go, "Oh yeah, that was good," and they're kind of lying. They may not have even read it. And what good is it to have a friend or family member tell me, "Oh yeah, it was good"? That doesn't help me. I want someone to read it, what was good about it or what was not good about it. I need somebody to give me good feedback. So I don't push and ask friends and family too much if they've read it, if they would like to read it or anything. If they say, "Hey, I'd be interested in it," okay. I tell them where I'm going to be for an author event and they could come, or I'd point them to where it is online if they want to get it. If I have some with me, sometimes I'll give them one, but I don't bug them. "Hey, did you read it? Hey, what'd you think?" Because it's always disingenuous to me.
Yeah. And what's so special about fantasy and creating fantasy worlds to you?
Wow, I've always lived in a fantasy world. I've
I
very
still feel we do. I still feel we do. It's all an illusion. This is
yeah.
all an illusion. You know?
Fantasy is just my thing. The speculative fiction type stuff, sci-fi, fantasy, all of that, and I've come to realize I don't want to say immature, but some people would argue it is. But I definitely have more of a kid's viewpoint on the world. I can see things more like a kid does. So writing kids' books makes a lot of sense. And thank you to Jay Thorne and Zach Bohannon for helping me realize that. When I first started writing, I was trying to write adult thrillers. I didn't know I was trying to write adult thrillers, but that's what was coming through as, and it sucked terribly. And when they made me realize that I'm writing kids fiction, but trying to make it adult fiction, I should just stick with making kids fiction. Everything has gone so much better since then. So that's kind of how I got to writing the kids fiction more, even though that's how I initially started, was focusing on kids. I should have stayed with that.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. In this world that we live in, and if you look at the educational system, no matter which country, right? We Now, I'm saying we, like me being in school now, right? Because nothing has really changed. We indoctrinated, we brainwashed. This is how it is, and there's no imagination allowed. So if the teacher says, Kino, look, this is it, this is the correct answer, I should have a right to question that. Why is that the right answer, or the only answer, or the only option? So for that, once again, I'm going to say thank you for the work you do for kids, because I feel that they need to allow their imagination to
Sorry.
and how it's called. They need to allow their imagination to run wild. Like I
Yeah.
truly believe in that. I truly believe in that.
So I've got a few issues with the education system here in America, and it's not that the teachers uh, are the problem. It's not that they're not trying to teach. It's that they're being told they got to do things a certain way, and it's not necessarily the best way for kids. And kids learn differently. Different people learn differently, but nobody's given a chance for that. I mean, I know somebody who's just now getting to be 30. So with, probably about your lifetime within the last 30 years, but they're very autistic and had problems in school in the early 2000s because there was no flexibility. There's no working with them. When my kids went to high school, I saw a lot more of that. So things have changed a bit in that regard. But then what we do is we're destroying all the creative stuff, and we're more focused on well, the kids have to pass these standardized tests, so they're learning how to pass standardized tests, but not learning how to learn, not learning about the actual world or things. And it's just, to me, there's a big mess with it. And that's why I try and work with teachers. All my books and stories, I try and have words to know and discussion questions, especially for all the homeschool parents. I know COVID pushed a lot of people into homeschool. There seems to be a bigger movement now for homeschool. But those parents sometimes have several kids. They're trying to run a family, so it's rough for them. So I try and help a bit with words and discussion questions and writing prompts. And I've got other things with our education system, but I like to work with teachers. I like to work with kids because that's really how the world's going to change.
Yeah, you and I are on the same frequency when it comes to this topic. A lot needs to be done. That's why I said, it doesn't matter which country it is, we're facing the same issue. And I was one of those kids, in school. Like, I mean, I just didn't fit. And then you get, like, there's judgment against you, there's judgment from the principal, there's judgment from the teachers, there's judgment from all the A students, right? There's judgment from your family. Some will even say, he's stupid, he's not intelligent, he's not smart at all. But no, it's just that I was thinking outside the box, and what you are telling me to do just doesn't make sense to me. There has to be other options. But then there was my creativity, that was wanting to come out and fighting to come out. But look, I've mentioned this before on the show. My parents love me. At that point, they also loved me. And they did what was best for me because they came from a different generation. So, of
Right.
course, now my way of thinking versus theirs was different. They thought, okay, look, we're doing what's best for you by sending you to an academic only school, instead of making the decision of, let's try sending him to a music school. Let's see what happens there, right?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
There was a show back in the 80s called Fame. And I know they had a movie reboot a couple years ago. And that's what that was. It was, I don't think it was Juilliard, but some high school in New York. It was based on a real high school. And the kids were focused on creative endeavors, the music, the dancing, the drama. And that's what the school focused on.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. So yeah, now I'm proud of what you're doing. And it reminds me of another guest that I had on the show last year. He is from the music industry. I mean, he's like worn any or every hat you could think of when it comes to the industry. And he's designed a platform for parents who have creative children who, want to get involved in music, whether it be that they, using doors to produce music, or whether they can play the piano, whatever it may be. And he's using his platform to guide parents on what to do and how to do it the right way, which I found quite cool and interesting. And it's so needed because parents can get overwhelmed, right? Hey, look at my kid. He or she plays the piano so well. And when I look at the grades in school, it's not that great as how he's playing the piano or she is playing the piano. But what do I do? What decisions do I make? So now that's where he comes in and he's like, okay, reach out to me. I'm a consultant. Check my website out. There's free resources available to guide you. And it's so needed. So needed.
And I see here another problem, that we get kids that are really good at sports, that do good at sports, and the parents are like, okay, great, push sports, get them in all the sports, they're really good at it. And parents, some schools are like, okay, well, if they're really good at sports, we want to keep them. So let's make it a minimum ability to get through the academics. Oh, they're good enough. We'll do everything we can to get them through the academics because they're really good at sports.
Yeah.
But when we have kids that are really good at music or something, it's like, yeah, well, that kind of sucks. You need to raise your grades. And it's not a good balance as far as I can see. It's funny you mentioned that the other guy, because I also, one of the ways I work with kids is teaching them how to get into the video game industry, how to create video games with a focus on storytelling, because storytelling in video games it's a newer title, a newer job within the video game industry. They're really focusing on the stories now a lot more than they used to. And you can actually get a job doing stories for video games. And I have a book series I'm coming out with, and I teach classes on storytelling video game. Narrative design is what they call it.
And it's a huge industry. I mean, it's a massive industry. The gaming industry generates more revenue than the music industry and the film industry combined.
Oh yeah. Well, here in America, when I talk to parents at my booth and stuff, I will get parents, and you'll see them. They'll come walking wearing their, here's the NFL team I love. Here's a jersey of the baseball team I love. I'm supporting my teams. And they'll see my book on video games and stuff like video games. Those are for kids. I'm like, oh really? Because last year the video game industry was about 4 times bigger than football and baseball combined. And they go, really? I'm like, yeah. I said the amount of kids in football that will actually go into high school football and then college football and then get a pro career is like less than 0.5% of all kids right now. But the video game industry, just about every kid who works on video games, making video games, can get a job in the industry. It's like if I want to be an auto mechanic, nobody's going to say, oh, no, you'll never get an auto mechanic. Yeah, I can get it. Same with video games, but football, chances are probably not. And I get a lot of parents going, oh, well, I'm like, so, if you're spending all this time and money on kids for football, but you have a kid that wants to do video games, spend the same amount of time and money because they have a better chance of having a good career. And the thing is, a lot of video game companies don't require a college degree. They want a portfolio. So if your kid's in middle school and starts to learn how to create a video game and creates a complete video game and moves on to new, better tools, creates a complete video game in high school and puts it up on the Android store, and they're writing some short stories, they're maybe involved in the play and music or whatever, that's a portfolio. When you're 18 and you're graduating, you go to these video game companies, say, look, I made video games. I put them on the stores. There's my portfolio. They're like, we like you. We're going to hire you. Guess who's not getting hired so much? The kids that go to college with a degree and then go to the video game thing, because they don't have any experience. The experience is where it's really getting people jobs. So that's, I get a lot of parents that backpedal, like, oh, I didn't realize that. I still get some that like, well, my kids go be in football no matter what. Well, good for you. Have a great day.
Yeah, no, it's just a matter of educating parents, and
Yeah.
that's something I had to also do in my personal life, because everything that I'm currently doing in my life now, at one time in my early 20s, did not make no sense to my parents till they actually started to see, bit by bit. Hey, look at that. Hey, he just won this award. Hey, look, he's hosting this event that just generated more money than a person with a college degree, working a 9 to 5, and he made all that money in one weekend.
Right.
No, hey, look at his
Exactly.
look at the podcast and all these cool people that he's talking to all around the world.
Right.
I mean, that's a later one, but it was a very hard sell to say, hey, I want to be a DJ full time. I want to be in the music industry. It's a hard sell. But once again, different generations. But as I started to educate them more about it, show them some results, show them what I'm doing, show them the reviews that are coming in from people, all around the world and so on. They're like, okay, this actually can be a job, a job.
Right.
Yeah, so it's just about the education.
And I'm not trying to convert parents. I'm not trying to convert sports parents away from sports with their kids, because sports is a good thing for a lot of kids. A lot of kids do well with it, and it's something they need. But there's a lot of kids that have nothing to do with sports, that don't care, that don't want to play sports, but video games are a good thing. The problem is that I see it, and maybe I'm wrong, but I see too many parents that just focus on sports, but they're not interested in helping the kids that aren't sports kids. They're not interested in helping the band kids, the drama kids, the kids that want to read, the kids that want to create video games. I'm just trying to open that avenue up so parents can see that as an avenue and make them more comfortable with it. And that's part of it. We just got this mindset here in our country that, you probably got it with soccer there, I would imagine. Football in your city, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
but I just see them as, well, sports is good. I see good things with sports. So we go with sports, but video games aren't looked upon the same way. Music isn't looked upon the same way. So I'm just trying to open their eyes. Maybe that is an option. So
Yeah, no, definitely. It definitely is an option. It definitely is.
yeah,
Like, I can back you up on that. It definitely is an option. So, the Bigfoot case, that's
yes,
the book that came my way.
we're going to talk about a book that's crazy. So let's roll it up.
There we go. So, really briefly, because we actually want people to purchase the book, what is it about?
So the book started, the whole series. This is more than one book. I've got another book coming out very soon on it. But the whole series was based on my kids and stepkids. All of us, most of us, had some interest in the paranormal and cryptid stuff. And my one son actually was going to a lot of events like Mothman Festival and Kecksburg UFO Festival, and doing talks in front of people. At age 16, he was doing talks in front of adults. And we all went to Maine, the International Cryptozoology Museum with Lauren Coleman. We went up there. They had a festival up there, and my son was honored with Young Cryptozoologist of the Year. The whole family went on the trip. So we all had an interest in it. So what I did was wrote some short stories with all the kids as the team members, searching for Bigfoot, searching for Mothman, whatever, in the stories. And that was part of their Christmas present each year. I gave them a short story. Well, now that my son's not doing that so much, I haven't been to so many of those, I missed it. So now I'm turning those short stories into full-blown books and putting out the series. And the first book was the first short story, and I'm putting it out there as a full story now with other books coming out. I've got so many stories and books in this series coming. um, but that's basically how it started. So it's a team of sibling investigators that search for the paranormal, the supernatural.
And the paranormal and supernatural, is that something that you personally believe in as a person?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Me too. That's why I had to ask you.
That, that's what makes it so much fun to write is, can I prove Bigfoot exists? No. Do I know he exists? Maybe. But I believe in the possibility that he exists. And there are enough things scientifically to help back that up. Even though there's a lot saying, he couldn't exist, there's other things saying he could. So I like the fantastical in my life. I like seeing the world through those magic glasses. And so that's what makes it fun to write these stories. And I think the characters are great and fun. I mean, I was reading passages of this, going through my last edit and chuckling. I'm like, that's pretty funny if I do say so myself. And I think the ending is, I wouldn't say it's a tearjerker, but it's got some power to it, I believe. I felt very much like, oh my gosh, even though I wrote it and knew what was happening, it still gave me that sense of, oh, I got to see what's going on. So I'm really proud of the book. I think it's a great book. And the next one, actually, I'm working on the Young Oddish Questers, which is like the origin story, how they all got together. And I've got a picture book already out with the lead guy based on my son that did the talks, but going on a leopard hunt. So I've got a picture book for younger kids along with this book, and Young Oddish Questers coming out. And I was just working on another story which does the Princess Bride treatment to a book. That's a whole, when that comes out, I'll talk more about it. And I've got a choose your own adventure that I'm working on. And that's part of my video game series too, teaching kids how to make choose your own adventures as a way to learn about branching paths and being able to follow multiple storylines, which is good training for video games later. So it's all tying together with all of these things is what I'm trying to do.
This is a serious question I'm going to ask you now. Do you even sleep?
Before I started working on all of this, I had hair. So what's that tell you?
Wow, you're working on so many projects that has such deep meaning, you know, like there's so much to take away from it.
And I've bounced around a little bit, but I think I'm getting it defined as to really what I want to work on with kids and parents, and using the Bigfoot as the vehicle to get kids interested in that, even with the video games. Yes, I'm teaching video games, but I'm not, but it's the Bigfoot and cryptids to draw the kids in, the video games to draw the kids in, and tying them together. I've got a video game I was working on with my wolf Hunter, who is also in the story in the book. But the video game's about him in the searching for cryptids, and that's going to be something I'm working on with the video game classes.
Mhm. Since you mentioned wolf, you really own a wolf.
I really own the wolf. His name's Hunter. He's
Hunter.
he's a hybrid. It's actually Hunter Moon is his full name. He's a hybrid. He's like 75% Sarloose wolf. We don't have any better information because he was a rescue. We didn't get much information. That's what the vet told us. They were going to put him down because he has a problem with his paw. He was born with bad bones, so he's a little bit, his paw bends funny, but it doesn't stop him. He's a lovable guy. He's wonderful. People have a lot of misconceptions about wolves because of our fiction, The Big Bad Wolf, stuff like that. Wolves are not like that at all. They are not going to hunt you down. They are not these mean, evil creatures. He is, we go out to play with him and pet him and stuff, and he'll roll over and put his belly up, and we're like, Hunter, the other wolves are laughing at you, man. You're not, portraying that stoic wolfness. And he goes, so he just loves to be petted. His fur is so lush and wonderful and thick, but it gets matted, and he hates to have it cut and trimmed off and stuff. But yeah, he's a great guy. He's very fun. So yeah, we got a wolf, and I wrote him into the story with the kids because he's part of the family. He's very pack family oriented, but he is afraid of most men, and we think there was some abuse when he was younger before we got him. So we're careful with that. And I know the kids always ask, oh, can you bring Hunter? It's like, no, there's a lot of good reasons not to. He'd probably love it, but all I need is one bad thing to happen, and then we got a problem. So instead, I should have brought it. I have a stuffed animal that looks like him that I offer for kids, and a lot of kids want a Hunter stuffed animal. So, okay, we're all good.
Yeah, it just shows you, right? When it comes to trauma, there's no difference between Hunter and Kino, for example. If we all have or had some unresolved trauma that's affected our future,
Yeah.
we can still work on it. So it's understandable when an animal reacts in a certain way or in a specific way to someone because it's, they were traumatized, they were hurt.
Yep.
So same as humans.
Yep.
Same as humans. Yeah. And I know everywhere in the world is different and every state in the US is different, but to actually have Hunter, does that require a permit or can you just have a wolf?
I have the local dog warden and stuff has never said we need anything special. We're not running a wolf sanctuary or wolf rescue. He's part something. We don't know what else. So he's just treated as a dog. In other areas that might be different. But where I'm at, there's never been any problem being a hybrid wolf.
Yeah. Well, look, when I got all your information from Mickey, I first opened up the picture. And I mean, Hunter looked like a normal dog until I actually opened up the bio. I'm then I went back to the picture. I'm like, is that really a wolf? Okay, I'm going to ask you.
Yep. Yeah, he's mostly a wolf.
Yeah. Nice, nice. And I love how you fitted him in uh, to the story. So, when does or when do you expect the series to actually end? Like, as an author, when do you know, okay,
When people stop
time,
buying it and reading it,
which can be never, especially
that would
with
be
parents who buy art
well.
films?
So there were 3 short stories I wrote that I'm turning into longer books. And I added an element into the story that allows me to extend it beyond those 3 stories. I think the 3rd book, though, is going to be a pretty powerful book as far as one of our characters and discovering some things. But then after that, it's going to shift a bit into this more overarching story. Still the cryptid stuff, still the hunts, but there's going to be something else happening for the kids that lead them um, to something else. And I don't want to give too much away, but I'm building on it slowly in this book, and then the next book, which I'm working on, which is the Wendigo, is in the 2nd book. So I got lots of ideas.
Yeah, that I definitely picked up on throughout this whole show. Yeah. And where can listeners find your books online?
Everything's on my website. Go to my website because I have links to all the different stores. And I put notices if I can when there's sales or something. Because, sometimes Amazon and others will just take your book and offer it at a discount to try and get more sales without me doing anything, but it happens sometimes. So it's SA-Schneider, and that's SCHNEIDER.com. So SA-Schneider. It's the German spelling.
Okay, nice. So they'll definitely be in the description. And on social media, are you online?
Yeah, I'm on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. Everything's SAS author. So you can find me with SAS author on all of them. And I've got links on my website. So just go to the website and you can find all the links.
And I'm assuming your books are available in all formats.
Yeah, I'm working on more of that. Actually, since I do work with a lot of kids and I've got a couple kids that have some eye issues, I'm going to be releasing my books, all of them in print as large print edition. And I'm going to be releasing them with a dyslexic font. So a whole different version. It's the same story, but with a dyslexic font to help people with dyslexia be able to read. And of course, online, and I'm working on the audio books, but I really would love to get my stuff translated into Braille. Even though I know a lot of people read audiobooks or listen to audiobooks, I am thinking that there's some people without sight that would love to read it,
Hmm.
with the Braille, as opposed to just listening to audiobooks. So I want to offer it in all those different formats. But like you said, when do I sleep? I got to write. I've got to promote. I've got to get all these formats. There's a lot going on.
Yeah, wow. Wow, I wasn't expecting that from you. You are an awesome human.
Well,
Well
thanks.
done for being an
I'm
awesome.
glad you said that. If I ever visit Africa, now I know I have a place to stay. Thank you.
Yeah, 100%. Well, Stefan, thank you so much, firstly, for being an awesome human, as I just said, and for just creating such awesome work that, I mean, fulfilled you as a person, but also is so beneficial towards humanity and especially the future generations to come, which is the kids of today, and reshaping the world and the
Thank
future.
you. Very, very
Yeah,
kind.
thank you so much for this conversation.
Thank you.
And yeah, and for what's to come in 2026, I wish you all the best. Good luck with your work, and I'm sure we will be chatting again in the near future to come.
Yeah. When I got more books, and we can talk about all those.
Yeah, clearly, you have a lot of books on the
Yeah.
way. Yeah. Well, once again, thank you so much. And yeah, please enjoy the rest of your afternoon.
Thank you. Have a good night.
All right. Bye.
Bye.